So here we are in the shed today, bit of a different I suppose video to normal. So I was coming back from Riverton on a little bit of an Easter trip, and the gearbox started to make a noise, just going 5th gear up a hill. Yeah, just started to get louder, and then every gear apart from 4th has been loud. So it is just a G52 gearbox, and they're known for blowing up, what have you. So here it is here. I've gone and purchased the R151 here with a 2LT bell housing, which is this V shape. It distinguishes it. Good little tip for you, so you're always looking for that V there in the heat sinks, or whatever you want to call them, structural members of the casting. And yeah, G52 is really loud. I don't know if you can hear that. What I've also done is gone and bought an adapter plate. So I ended up buying the R151 box just by itself with no transfer. Saves me a little bit of money there, about $500. So I've put that extra money into this adapter plate here, which means I can have a gear driven transfer to the R151 box. So that means I can run reduction gears if I wanted to in the future, is the reason why I've done it. And it ends up being about the same amount of cost anyway as the chain driven transfer, with it being electronic 4-wheel drive engage. You need to play around with that, but I'm not too bothered about that being a Sparky. But yeah, it's just as easy, I thought, to roll this adapter plate so I can have the reduction gears, and it's roughly the same price, so it's kind of a win-win. So this is going to be about installing that onto the R151 box and installing that into the Hliux. Yeah, so I've used the same fork that the R151 comes with, and then the bearing is what I had in the G52, which came with my MPC clutch. Had a 5-puck heavy duty clutch. I'm on the fence of that clutch decision, but it handles the power, but it's not that drivably friendly with the bite. So yeah, you know, put that together, you can see the physical size difference. Bit fatter, this box, in the G52, hence it is a bigger box. And this plate I've got from 4-wheel drive bits, just because I couldn't wait too long. But if you're really organised, you can get it directly from advanced adapters on the internet, and it saves you a little bit of money there. So it ends up being about $800 from there, which, yeah, I mean, $500 for the chain transfer, and then whatever, $200 fluffing around trying to get the electronic engagement to work if you're lucky. So yeah, ends up being the same. Yeah, I'm going to install that, show you. Got some gear sticks which you have to modify, we'll get to that. Yeah, clean it up, put it in, show you how to roll. Here's the teeth adapter that you get with the kit. And also I've already taken the seal out of the back here and pushed in this little sleeve that comes with the kit to put a new seal in there. Alright, a little bit of a secret happening in the shed here. Yeah, you won't see that for a while. It's just a workbench. Yeah, so we'll get into it. Here's the Hliux. We'll do a bit of a rundown on this at some point. Yeah, so you got the seal in there now. Slightly pinched it. Again, the love of seals. Should be alright. I don't even know if you'll see it. Slightly around there. A weird thing with this adapter plate, you have to grind a little bit of the gearbox away to get this bolt in. As you can see, it's close. A bit weird for an adapter kit to come with grinding out the gearbox slightly. It's quite close to that hole there. But yeah, need to grind a little bit more, and then we're good to put together. Finished grinding that piece out, this corner here. There's not much meat left on it there, but that's what they require and that's what it needs to get in there. Cleaned it up pretty nice. But yeah, next to no meat there. Went around to my mate Joel to get this welded. This is the G52 gear stick, low range here, that I've used, and we've welded about 20mm onto it. I mean, give or take, it's obviously just a slot into the fork in the transfer case lever for the forward and back. It goes into that shift. Forward shift is what they call it, and you need the R151 base for the low range gear stick. To the bolt pattern is slightly different, as we talked about before. Yeah, so I'll sort of show you that in place, what I'm talking about with the forks, and then you can have your same shifter location, so you don't have to cut the interior out, which is probably just as easy, to be honest. Obviously just welding a stick on the end is not very hard. So I just painted it, gave it a paint touch up. So the adapter plate there, and that's the bolts I had to chop down to make that fit under the switch for the high-low four-wheel drive. So that's put in there. These are the forks in there that I was talking about. I might struggle to see them, but yeah, so that finger goes into that. I'll get a bit of light on that. That's pretty much it. You just need to chop these head of the bolts down and it bolts up, and obviously trim the transfer where I showed you on the last one, to get that all lined up. We're pretty much on a winner. So we've just bolted up the flange, the adapter plate onto the transfer, some red gasket sealer. Yeah, gonna reassemble it properly. Test fitted everything, obviously, as you've seen. Yeah. Here's the bell housing there, R2LT fits in. This reverse plug, I believe, the light, if your gearbox gets stuck in gear, if you've had it vertically upright, as I did, and it got stuck and jammed in gear, I had the box out, so I just lifted it up and knocked it back, and then it came right. There's a slide in here that stops it from changing out of gear, and it gets jammed in there if you have it upright. So it's a little trick to know, is be careful of that, especially if you go put the box in and it's stuck in gear. I think you have to take that plug out and slide the metal plate back. It's a tab to slide it back. It's ready to go in. Got the NPC clutch there. Bit of a bitch of a clutch. It's got a puck clutch, but it's got good for the power, but yeah, not too user friendly, especially if you're trying to ride the clutch, which you can't really do, but at low range it's alright. Alright, so I've just bolted the gearbox in, check the clutch works. Got a little tip before you get too far and check that works. I've this gasket glued around here for the transfer to go on. I've put a little gasket glue around here because it doesn't really seal on that shaft that well. Obviously it seals on that shaft well, but if oil, I imagine, flies around in the bearings there and comes kind of out there, it's going to drop into this cavity as you see in here, and once it's in here it's kind of stuck in there. So I don't know if that's just a bit of a fault in the adapter plate, but yeah. So I've just put a bit of sealant around there because once it comes through there, through that open bearing holes from flicking around, it's going to fall onto that. Anyhow, we'll lift this in and into it. So everything bolted up as per the normal G52 once it was in. Same engine mount, gearbox cross member mount, and yeah, currently standing free. So everything was sweet. It's pretty much in the little place it was, so you don't have to worry about drive shafts or anything either. And yeah, all on, exhaust is on. Need the one-piece drive shaft that I've got there, the front one put in, and we'll plug the electrical stuff in. Need to change some of the plugs, I believe. I haven't looked too much into that yet. What needs to be done. Yeah, all the clutch works well up there. All ready to roll. So as you can see, I've had the gearbox in for a couple months now. Everything's dirty, typical four-wheel drive. So I ended up using the G52 reverse switch there, bolts screw straight in, so then you can use the factory wiring plug, just plug straight in, then makes life easy. Yeah. So here's a little trick that I've learnt just by myself actually. Garden hose, full bung, straight in. Depends what garden hose you get. This one's actually a little bit loose, but some of them are fucking pretty good. And a drink bottle, pump bottle with the sippy nozzle. Pull the cap, pull the thing right off, and it goes into a hose, and then you've got a funnel. So you can obviously cut a bit of hose long enough, and then it goes right outside the car, and you just fill it up at your luxury. Instead of being under the car trying to fucking fuck around. It's a little bit slow, but I suppose if you've got the 4 litre oil containers like this here, it's kind of, yeah, better than a pump. It's half a pump, fucking don't pump this shit. So yeah, chuck that in, away you go.